here with us. Unfortunately, I've got some audio visual challenges here. So we've got Aldo's audio coming from WhatsApp. Now let's see. Aldo, say hello to the world for us, will you?
Hello, world.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you just fine. Hopefully, if there's not a huge reverberation, the folks online can let us know. Guys, super excited. And again, sorry for the delay. Aldo, I've known for many years. He is an expert on many things. Crypto is he is the head of this amazing group, amazing crypto community, and a trusted source on all things crypto in Panama. So Aldo, thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Kent.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, cool. I mean, let's get into it, right? Things are getting crazy and awesome in Panama right now as far as crypto. So, you know, of course, I like to talk to people about the real estate world and how things are changing and sort of what's developing. So it sounds like you've seen and or participated in some crypto deals recently in the purchase and sale of real estate assets in Panama, no?
Yes, this is happening a lot now. People are trying to, you know, there's a new class of millionaires that have emerged from this boom in cryptocurrencies. You know, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other ones. And this new generation of, you know, very wealthy, you know, high net worth individuals are looking for ways that they can trade their digital currencies for real world, you know, assets like land and fertile land, apartments, real estate, so that they can diversify, of course. And a good way to do this is to swap the properties directly for the crypto instead of using banks.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's happening, you know, and I've even seen a couple of developers who have now said, hey, listen, we're happy to take crypto. So that's my first question that I think folks are dying to know. We've participated on a few crypto deals over the last 6 months. Myself, no. My team, yes. So let's walk us through this because, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, how does it even work? Let's say I'm a seller, right? And maybe I have crypto or I don't have crypto, but let's start at the beginning. So you create a promesa de compra-venta, which is your standard contract, right? And then how, yeah, so you agree on a price. Let's talk about the price. For example, people get worried about the fact that crypto is not the same every day in terms of US dollars. How do you get around that?
So for sure. So the thing is that there is this new group of cryptocurrencies. Well, it's not new actually, but now it's one of the highest growing sectors of cryptocurrency, which is called stablecoins. These coins are cryptocurrencies, just like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but they're not free floating in value. So they're pegged to the value of another asset. For example, it could be to the value of the dollar, which most of them are pegged to the value of the dollar. But there is also stable coins like pegged to the value of an ounce of gold or to the value of the euro or the yen. So there's a lot of projects that are creating these stable coins pegged to the value of sovereign currency. So they're like a digital version of a fiduciary currency of a country. So, for example, I know that Peru is working right now in a project. We are working on the coin.
Hold on. Let's take a step back. Aldo, I mean, you guys, we're lucky to have Aldo because he is so full of knowledge that he could go in any one direction. And it's going to be my job to keep us tunnel vision on real estate just for this first question. So, yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this. So let's say I'm a buyer, right? I need to convert my currency, my crypto, to a stable coin pretty early on, right? So I buy these stable coins and then I guess they become like I have a window to use them. Is that right? Like I have 3 months to cash out my stable coin or no?
No, not at all. I mean, like if you go to coinmarketcap.com, which is the most visited price index website or informational statistical website for cryptocurrencies, which was actually sold for $400 million last year to Binance, the largest exchange of cryptocurrency in the world.
Okay.
If you go to CoinMarketCap, you will see that you have a ranking. And the highest one is, of course, the number one in the ranking is Bitcoin, which has a little above $1 trillion in market cap. Then you have Ethereum, and then you have Tether, which is called USDT, which is called US dollar Tether, because it's tethered to the value of the dollar.
Okay.
This coin has, I think, $40 billion in tethers, in dollars, and it's basically a digital dollar. And then you have another one called USDC, which is called USD coin, which was it's minted by a company called Circle, which started, I think, in 2014.
So,
and they are backed by Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
So it's a digital already.
Digital. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to give sort of layman terms to people that might not already be familiar, or maybe people that have crypto and that are like, okay, so now what? So, and I'm not one of those people. So I'm kind of flying blind, but not really. Like, okay, so I own the equivalent today of $200,000 in Bitcoin, right? In theory, my Bitcoin is worth $200,000 today. If I were to change it in, but I want to buy a condo, right? Condo, like I'm going to have to pay the seller a little bit now, right? And then the rest in, let's call it 3 months. That's our deal. That's what the buyer and the seller have agreed to. 10% now, 90% in 3 months, right? So as a buyer, I need to look at my 90% that I need to get the seller in. Let's say the seller insists on getting paid in stable coins, right? Because he knows he can convert it. There's no currency loss. Takes the risk out of the equation, at least from a volatility of exchange. Right. So as a buyer, do I need to buy that 90%? Do I need to go ahead and convert that now? Or is it in my advantage to just kind of wait until the very end and then convert it and then give them the stable coins?
So it depends on on your appetite for risk, right?
Right.
If you
to ride it out.
If you have to. So, for example, if you are going to do a promesa de compraventa or a promise for purchase, right? It's like a pre-agreement. Then you're gonna make an advance on the property. So you're gonna put like 10%, for example, and you have $200,000 worth of Bitcoin right now. What you establish is, this is the amount of Bitcoin that I'm going to send you today, and that's what it's worth. Or maybe the property owner can say, hey, listen, but I'm not interested in you sending me Bitcoin because I don't want to, risk my 10% to move 20% down, and then I'm losing money. So what the property owner might want to do is, hey, listen, send me a stable coin already. So, and they can exchange it to Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever they want afterwards.
Or fiat, right?
Or they can exchange it to fiat too, and there's services. Like we have an exchange also.
Okay, so let's say I'm the seller now, right? And I just got my first 20,000 in Bitcoin, or no, in stable coin, right? And thank you guys for your comments, Jeffrey. Cheers. Clearly, we have some people who know what they're talking about here. Chris, we're going to get to your question in a second. But let's say I'm the seller, right? And guys, if you're just joining us, Aldo Antinori is a whiz on a lot of things, crypto being one of his specialties. Lucky to have him here. So, okay, we're in a hypothetical transaction where, let's say I'm the seller and Aldo's the buyer. Make it easy. So I'm the seller and I just got $20,000 worth of a stable coin, right? Which I don't have to worry about currency volatility because I know it's 1-to-1. I need to call a broker. Aldo's a broker. Hey, Aldo, can you change my 20K? Is there any issue of ever not being able to exchange that for exactly what it is? And what are typical fees? What kind of a haircut am I going to take for this exchange?
Yeah, you're typically looking at something around 3% on whatever the transaction is.
Okay, well, I'll charge the buyer that for sure.
Yeah, you have to consider like the benefits as well, right? Because it's 3%, but you also have the mobility to have that money into the crypto market. So let's say, for example, let's say you are a property owner and you want to sell, right? No, let's put it another way. Let's say you are just a person who wants to buy cryptocurrencies. If you want to go and buy cryptocurrencies, you're going to have to pay a fee, right? Normally the fees are around 5%.
Okay.
So if you have if you have a property, right, and if you go like to any regular exchange, the fees are about 4 to 5%. There's OTC trading desks that will go from 2 to 3. I mean, there's depending on the quantities, depending on the jurisdiction you are, depending on the method of payment. If it's with credit card, the fees are higher. If it's with bank account, the fees are lower. If you are in Panama, it's kind of hard because then there's no cryptocurrency regulation here, and because of that, the banks just shut off everything that is related to crypto. So it's
pause. That's an important point. Yes. So let's talk about that, and then we'll get back to our fictitious transaction of buying and selling a condo using crypto and stablecoins. So let's talk about where Panama is, because I've heard everybody says the same thing. Panama's these days behind the times in terms of crypto and banking regulations. Some people think that's a great thing because then you're sort of operating in a level of less regulation, which some people appreciate that environment. However, once you get the Panamanian institutions involved, like a Banco General, let's say you're my broker, right? And I just gave you $20,000 worth of stablecoin, and I want to put it somewhere in one of my Panamanian bank accounts. Is there even a precedent for being able to do that here yet?
If you want to put it in your bank account in Panama.
Yes. So I just sold my condo. Right? This is fictitious. I just got 20K worth of stable coin. I called my broker Aldo. Hey, Aldo, man, I got 20K of stable coin. I need 20K less your fees. You say, okay, no problem. Done. Send it to my wallet. Then what happens? I transfer cash. I send you a wire transfer. I give you a check.
Yeah, what we do is that we operate with our exchange in Nevada. So because it's because the banking railways over there are already integrated into the whole fintech API structure. So it's very seamless to move from crypto to fiat and fiat to crypto. Meanwhile, in Panama, it's funny because Panama actually was on the forefront of innovation and financial and legal innovation a couple of years ago. But the world has moved on, and Panama has stayed behind. It's a little bit of an ostrich situation where Panama has ignored this completely. And the problem is that now there's all these apps and all this and then since Panama is also on blacklists, and there is a lot of after Panama Papers, things really went south regarding the Panama's position as a financial hub internationally. So if you think about it, right now we're more like a local hub, or like maybe a regional, because there's a couple of regional banks, but there's all the international ones really left. So when you want an account and applications like trading apps like eToro, you will notice that they will send you a notification that this region is banned from participating with their services. So you cannot trade on eToro because you're in Panama. So you need to use a VPN or whatever. It's kind of, Panama is kind of like discriminated right now, and put in a little upper A financially from many services. So what we are telling our clients is, if you want to sell your property, just open a bank account in another jurisdiction where you can receive the funds. It could be in the Caribbean, it could be in Europe, it could be in the States. Depending who you are and what nationality you are, citizen of what country you are, it would be better to move away from Panama as a banking services jurisdiction.
Got it. Okay, so I get my first 10% outside of Panama. Of course, I can bring it inside of Panama, no problem, because I've already got it landed in the United States or landed in Europe or wherever. But okay, cool. So I'm always the question we get the most often. I do want to get to everybody else's questions too here. Thank you guys. It's always fun to hear where people are checking in from too. So shout out wherever you're watching from. Aldo. So we're in the middle of our fictitious transaction. I just got my first 20K on a 200K. I did the deal with you as a broker. So I got my 20K. You sent it to an account that I have in the United States. No problem. I showed them that I just sold an apartment, right? Or I'm in the process of selling the apartment. So they're like, yeah, no problem. Your money just arrived. All good. I can send it down to Panama. Now, what about, the nice thing in Panama when you're using a traditional sort of closing mechanism is what we call the Carta de Promesa de Pago, which is an irrevocable letter of payment from a bank guaranteeing funds are frozen in the buyer's account. And then in order for the deal to close, the public registry, you got to sign, you got to execute, the asset changes hands, and then the bank verifies that the asset has changed hands, and then the bank liberates the funds, right? So it's like, this isn't a traditional, normal real estate deal. Now, in the case of crypto, it cannot be instantaneous because the public registry still has to do their thing. Money still has to come in some cases to liberate some mortgages. Maybe you put that in that becomes an additional down payment. That's okay. We can get through that. But what about that other, in our transaction, I'm waiting on 180K, right? I need you to pay me 180,000 and you need me to transfer the property to your name, right? Let's say it's not sale of shares. It's a regular, just a regular finca under my personal name. How do you deal with that?
So most of these transactions do not involve a bank, because what people are trying to do,
that's fine,
specifically, is bypass them.
Sure.
I mean, the idea of cryptocurrencies, if you can remember, it's a peer-to-peer network, right? So people are trying to, eventually there will be a big a plethora of services of financial institutions. I don't know about Panama, but like these things are already happening in other places where you can even mortgage your crypto in a financial institution, and they would make you a loan based on your crypto as a collateral, and with that loan you can go buy a property. So this is a very interesting turn of things now.
That's awesome.
Because crypto is acquiring. If you think about why people think about real estate as a safe haven, it's because it's rooted, it's always there. You can see it. It's tangible, right? In Spanish we call it inmueble, which means not movable. I mean, it's part of the whole thing. And this is why for a banking institution, using real estate as a collateral for mortgages, for example, it's very, and for a loan, it's very useful, because the client or the customer cannot take the asset and just hide it or destroy it. I mean, it's there, right? It's a property, it's a house, and if you think about crypto, when you think about verifiable money, it's much more pristine as a collateral than real estate, because it's very liquid. So the problem with when we saw the whole problem with the subprime mortgages in 2008, it was because they were under collateralized, these banking institutions, and they were passing around this toxic asset, real estate asset bags, right? And until it popped. But in crypto, now you have this industry called DeFi, or also called CeFi. It's like decentralized finance, and all these apps are emerging right now, like Celsius and BlockFi and Nexo, and they are accepting your coins, and they will make loans, and they will make them immediately, because the compliance, you don't need an appraisal, you don't need if the person doesn't pay, it gets liquidated automatically to dollars. So for example, you don't have the problem of having to take the property away from the people or expel the people from the property. You don't have to send police. You don't have to send lawyers. You don't have to deal with the taxes that the person didn't pay afterwards. You don't have to take the car away. So crypto is a much more pristine and liquid collateral asset for loans. And now we're going to start seeing this thing shift towards like crypto being the safe haven, and people will use crypto to get other things that they need, like a car or a house to live.
Agreed, man. I mean, I think that's you talked about a lot of things in that comment, but yeah, and it's actually interesting. Dwayne just commented on Celsius as well. So going back to our example, sort of nuts and bolts of a real estate transaction, I am still waiting on my $180,000 that you owe me for my apartment, and I have not put it in your name yet. In your experience, are you mostly seeing people using fiduciarias, like setting up a trust to close that transaction, and basically like a wallet, say on one side, or on a third party that accepts the money, verifies the money's accepted based on conditions, and then once the condition of transferring the asset is met, releases the money? Is that kind of how you're seeing it as well in Panama?
Yes. So what we're doing is that we are acting as an escrow of sorts, and we are the exchange as well. So what we're doing is that we accept the crypto in USDT, we transform it to dollars so that it doesn't fluctuate. Right? We do that for the property owner so that they are not exposed to the fluctuation. Then we hold those coins until we have proof that the property has been transferred to the property owner, and then we dispatch the coins in whatever currency the property owner wants. If they want it in Bitcoin, because the problem here is not the Bitcoin or the USDT. I mean, there's problems with the fluctuation, but we can resolve that really quick because we can exchange those Bitcoin. The amount of liquidity in this market makes it so that we are able to transform those Bitcoin or those Ethereum or those fluctuating assets into stable coins like in 5 seconds. That's no problem for us. The huge problem here is the delays that Panama has transferring one property in the public registry from one owner to the other. As you know, sometimes this could take months.
Yes, I do.
And it's not up to the owner. I mean, there's paz y salvo. There's pending payments or hidden payments in taxes. We've talked about this before, right? Like all this, like when people have the right to an exoneration, but they didn't claim it. So then the public, the tax authority is, charging them like a bunch of money that they had a right to be exonerated from. Like, and then they have that after this administration came into power, processes like the tax exoneration claim that lasted 3 months. Now it lasts like a year. So, this is delaying the whole chain of
unless you know a guy
transactions.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the whole government delay, unexpected, I think would warrant a buyer to go ahead and lock in his stable coins earlier than later in the deal, because you've got potentially delays coming in just with the title transfer. But okay, no, I mean, that's, guys, if you're just now joining us, Aldo is the man. If you've already been on the call, you know that. Aldo knows what he's talking about, and he's a crypto expert. So let's talk about the crypto world in Panama in general. Yeah, I do, Jeffrey. I got people on the inside that can move those property tax exoneration registrations a bit quicker. So in a completely legal way, obviously. Let's talk about... Obviously. Let's talk about deal volume, Aldo. Where are you seeing crypto buyers and sellers coming from? Any particular...
Let me stop you right there for a minute. I want to go back to the last point.
Sure.
I mean, maybe some of your viewers have heard about Bitcoin, but the real important thing about this whole thing is blockchain technology, right? and blockchain is just distributed. Database just to people that.
Pero se escucha entrecortado, Aldo. Que va, we lost him.
Give me a second, please.
Okay, actually, yeah, your audio is still there, Aldo, so the people can hear you. They just can't see you right now.
Yes, just wait a second, please.
No problem. I'll fill the gap while you get all set up. So yeah, guys, I can tell you from personal experience that what I said earlier about developers taking Bitcoin is fairly new. We've got some big developers open to taking Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin. Not aware of any other cryptocurrencies that they might be open to taking. But we also have customers, buyers, and sellers looking to transact in Bitcoin. Obviously, there's an advantage financially for a seller who wants to stay in Bitcoin, so he doesn't have to say, transfer his fiat back to Bitcoin, etc. But yeah, I mean, it's happening, guys. This is a real trend, and the fact that we've got Aldo on the line with us is cool. And so I had some other questions, and I'm super curious. What's that, buddy?
I'm going in.
Entra.
My call came in and it disconnected my.
No problem. So I'm going to be. Yes. Okay. We can see you. Here you're going to come online. Now you're good and you're back. Audio is still a little funky. It's still going through my phone. But yeah. So what about new laws, Aldo? What are you seeing in the next?
I'm sorry. I want to.
Oh yeah.
Keep going. I was trying to get a point through about the efficiency of blockchain technology for governmental procedures, and I would like to take advantage of the opportunity to make a point about it, because in the real estate business you have a big trouble, right? You have all these institutions that are working independently, like ANATI and the public registry and the tax authority, right? And all of them, the problem when you look at it is that none of them trust each other, none of them trust us, and then you have the banks as well. So then you have like all this umbrella of it's like an army of people that work in the notarios, the notaries, right?
And their bubbles.
And then you have all these certificates and all this, all of this. It's like a very clunky, very slow, as molasses, a system of verification and proof that we are we, and that we own what, and that we want to transfer what of what we have, right? And then you have the lawyers, and then you have the real estate agents, and then you have, so it's like and then you have the administrations of the buildings who also need to give you Mr. Bueno, and you have IDAN, the water authority, that also needs to give you a
good standing certificate
that you don't own anything in the IDAN. So there's if you think about it, like if someone from the government or someone who can make something about it or make a decision that is looking at this show can start looking into the ways of how to implement blockchain technology, the underlying technology of Bitcoin, into the real estate operation, so that it would be amazing that we would have digital identities in the Tribunal Electoral, right, that would certify us as the property owners of a property in the public registry, so that we can, with an app and an electronic signature, verify a transaction to transfer the property, and we could connect it to a wallet or to our bank account directly that is also verified with our identity, right? So this way it would make it. Did it disconnect?
People can still hear you, Aldo. Keep going. Aldo Antinori for president.
All right. So the idea would be for a way to create a model that is seamless and that it's frictionless, so that people could transfer properties and should transfer value for those properties interchangeably, without the need of all this army of people, stamping things and I mean, just think about what.
Agreed, buddy. Agreed.
And you get a certificate of ownership of a property. It's 1 week to get it. I mean, that's 1 week less than you as a property agent is. That's a week of delay for your commission in the sale of a property. You know, that money could go to someone that you're going to hire, right? And
Agreed.
mobilize the economy.
No, yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary steps and a lot of disconnected entities in a real estate transaction, and I think that's probably the case the world over, right? I mean, blockchain is definitely going to what's the word? Streamline, economize the process. It's just not as adapted, not as implemented yet. But let's see. It'd be awesome, Aldo, is you just keep talking because people can't see you, and I'll just move my mouth as if it's that knowledge coming out of no. Yeah. Like a puppet.
Yeah, I don't know why it disconnected.
Yeah, I don't know what happened either. But man, I mean, listen, we need to do this again, and we need to continue and get down a couple of these fun rabbit holes, because you're doing a lot of cool things. I know you're looking into and really excited about tokenized ownership, which I think is very real. I mean, Dwayne Lee in the Facebook chat is very familiar, being an expert in Canadian real estate. I can't remember the word for it, but it's basically just multiple owners of a single asset, fractionalized ownership they call it, and that whole concept is not new. So there's a legal framework for doing it. But listen, I don't want to keep talking about this myself, and it's probably a little hard for people to follow without having you on camera and just having to sort of listen. So let's get dialed in and do this again in the next couple of weeks, my friend.
For sure. Thank you very much for having me, Kent.
Thank you, Aldo. And thank you guys. Yeah, buddy. Hasta pronto. Thank you. And thanks to you guys for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the end, but man, 32 minutes of knowledge dropped by Mr. Aldo Antinori. So signing off here. Thanks for your business. Jeffrey, you didn't offend anybody, buddy. Don't worry. All good. And thanks to everybody on the call or on the whatever we're calling this, the Facebook Live session. Have a great day. Bye-bye.